I really hope you guys enjoy. So Borja, you're first.
Why me? Okay, hi, how are you? My name is Borja. I oversee digital and social strategy for NBC Universal and Telemundo Enterprises, which pretty much what we do, we oversee, we kind of set up the strategy to grow audiences on the Telemundo, NBC Universal, and Telemundo International properties on digital. Obviously, we help to monetize those audiences. And in addition to that, we are currently helping other NBCU units on the general market to put their Hispanic strategy together. So we are working very closely with Fandango, USA, mostly with NBC Sports, because recently we have acquired the rights for 3 World Cups. So we'll have 2018, 2022, 2026, and we are gonna work hand to hand with the NBC Sports team, and also because of the Olympics too.
Thank you, Borja. David?
Yeah, my name is David Gillerans. I'm in charge of digital transformation for Millicom. Millicom is an operator, telco, with over 60 million mobile users in 16 markets, as well as broadband and cable television in more than 3 million homes throughout Latin America. So we operate in several markets in Africa, Tanzania, Ghana, in 4 more markets. And in Latin America, we operate in 6 markets, including Colombia, Guatemala, Salvador, Paraguay, and Bolivia. Among my responsibilities, I'm helping the company bring digital solutions to our markets, either through services that we provide or by working with partners like yourself to bring some of this innovation to our customers around the globe.
Thank you, David. Daniel?
My name is Daniel Gelman, and I lead the Mobile Digital Solutions business unit at Brightstar. Brightstar is a company headquartered here in Miami. We're local, and we're global. We're in over 55 countries. We're the leader in wireless devices distribution, and also a provider of services like insurance, financial services, digital solutions, and buyback trading.
That's great. So just to give you guys, one of the reasons why I wanted them to introduce is because we know that in the world is mobile. There are more mobile phones than people, actually. And it's very important in order to really understand what's behind, why content is important. That's why we brought these guys. Why the telcos is important, because without them, it wouldn't be impossible for us to make things happen over mobile. And why the Brightstar team is here is because all the things that they do, they may not be as visible as a mobile carrier or as a content, but it's really the behind the scenes of why all of us can be operating with our businesses. So the first question for this crew is going to be more around, what are your thoughts on what do you think in terms of building content for the internet? What are the specific things that you think that are working today? How the products need to be built so that we can consume them? And if you have any anecdotes of projects and things that you've been doing or where you've been very disruptive, because I know that you guys have done things always like pioneering, it would be super interesting for us to hear.
Should I start? Well, for us it's simple, and I remember like back in 2000, like 5 years ago, I think, is when I took over social at Telemundo. My first impression when I got with my team members is social is about content, right? The day that you don't post, the picture of your dog or your daughter or the video clip that you did, the day that nobody follows you, nobody clicks you, nobody likes you. So for us it was, okay, being the second largest content producer in the world in Spanish language, it was, okay, let's give that audience what they want, which was more content, and we believe content is the currency. Either content that we allow the user to manipulate and play with, or content more in a news shape where we kind of like inform audiences. For us, at NBC Universal, we have beautiful assets. We have movies, we have shows, we have sports. So what can we do with that content and make it available for audiences in these digital and mobile platforms for them to interact with others? We have seen lately how working with companies like Facebook, we were able to deliver native video. We were able to, we just did right now, like 10 minutes ago, an entire Facebook Live from here, from CNBC. So that technology and infrastructure is helping us to bring content and to deliver content at a very different level and being able to reach more people. To your point, they are the first point of entry for anyone. I don't know, how many of you wake up, with your mobile device? Please raise hands.
Hands up.
Amazingly, almost the whole audience, What is the first thing that you do after waking up? Put, the snooze button, we don't know that, but what is the second thing that you do? Probably get into your social platform of choice. And, my job, yeah, I said. My approach, for being a company, granted that on the TV platform we have to have a beautiful morning so-called Un Nuevo Día, but our responsibility is to make sure that Un Nuevo Día is present there at 6 a.m. on your social app, on your mobile device. Otherwise, somebody else is going to be there. So it's that. That's the evolution. We are storytellers, and now there are other platforms where you can tell the story. I hope that I give a little bit of on how we envision content in these platforms.
So I just want to add something here. When we're thinking about helping to connect the world, one thing that we learned is that there are certain places, certain countries around the world where the local internet doesn't still exist. Local content doesn't exist. So if you go to certain places in Honduras or maybe in Haiti, in very, very poor and very, very undeveloped countries, you see that one big reason why people don't really use the internet as much is because there is no local content still. And so this is a question for David, because with David we've been working in so many projects, not only with Facebook, you guys have been working with a ton of different players around the world, and how can we help the mobile internet ecosystem succeed and accelerate?
Yeah, I would say that when you look at developing markets, there are many, many challenges, right? We see tremendous growth in terms of smartphone penetration, not necessarily data usage from those users. So as you penetrate further into the market, you're going to find lower capacity smartphones, what we call entry-level smartphones, that are not necessarily the best for some of the services that we see proliferating in developed markets. So when you're designing a service, you need to understand this reality. You need to understand that you're going to find yourself with lower networks, lower end type of smartphones. So you want to develop or design services that are considering this. The other thing is the business models. Our advertisement or the mobile advertisement business in a lot of these markets is really infant. What you get in terms of clicks per install or revenues per view are significantly lower when you compare that to developed markets. So you want to also be looking out for new and innovative business models. When you look at payment by users, you don't see that kind of penetration in terms of credit cards. So what we've done as a company is we're working in mobile financial services, so basically mobile wallets. Currently we have over 15 million mobile wallet users in our markets, which literally go to top-up stations and add currency to their mobile wallet, and then from there they can pay for different services that they're consuming via mobile devices or the internet. So basically the advice is really understand that these are different networks. These are networks that are not up to par with what you will find in developed countries. So you want to consider that when you're designing your service. The other thing that you want to consider is the local needs. What are the local needs? What are the opportunities as entrepreneurs that you're going to find once you understand these local needs? Needs are really different, so you want to really understand the culture. I'm personally extremely excited. We're already seeing over 60% penetration among our customer base of smartphones, but we don't still see the products and services to pretty much meet those needs in those markets. So as entrepreneurs, I really encourage you all to understand those needs and start putting your minds together in terms of how you're gonna monetize your business models. How can you meet these opportunities in these markets?
Thank you, David. So Daniel?
Yeah, when I think about applications, I heard once that we've become a completely different person because of applications and digital services. So thanks to Facebook, for example, we all think we're famous. We have all these friends, right? And because of Instagram, we all think we're paparazzi and we're allowed to take pictures of everything and post it, right? And because of Twitter, we all think we're reporters, right? Like in Telemundo. And some people think they're Casanova because of Tinder. what we've been trying to do lately for the last year and a half is help companies like David's, like Millicom, help companies like Borja, like Telemundo, sometimes meet halfway. So the content providers and the telcos to meet halfway, and what we're bringing to the party is the preloading of the content on the phones, getting the phones to those markets, working with providers like Acuto, for example, that does sponsored data. So in those markets where data consumption is not prevalent today, the users can actually get sponsored to use that data. Facebook has been doing that in several of the markets as well. So what we're trying to be is that glue in between the content provider and the telco and the manufacturers of the mobile devices.
So I just need to add that we don't sponsor data. It may look like that, but we don't sponsor data. We basically reach very interesting agreements, and we partner with all these guys in order to really make sure that people understand the internet, sometimes through Facebook, because it's the best way to connect with your friends and family to really understand the power of it. But yeah, so you've touched very interesting points. You've talked as well about financial. You've talked about being in the halfway, but really being the one that makes things happen, and how you're helping companies like us or the Ubers of the world or some others to really get that device to the user with the appropriate content. You touched on video. Before deep diving into each of them, I think that there's so much we can talk about video today, right? So one of the main, we had our developer event on Tuesday and Wednesday in San Francisco last week, and previously, like a week before, we launched Live, which is a new feature on your Facebook where you can basically broadcast instantly whatever you want, right? So, Borja, you've already been testing with this for a long time. You've been pioneering different things. How do you see the future in a year and a half on how people will be using these type of features, not only the Facebook one, but some others? How do you, as a telco, do you see that? And I don't know if you, because you're a user of it, you would be want anything to add?
Well, basically for us, video, which is at the core in our strategy, it means many things. You know, obviously, is where the advertising community wants, what the social platform wants. So it's essential to our business. But video, at the end of the day, is a universal temple. If you think about it, it's easier to communicate via video than via text, right? You know, everybody can understand a 15-second video of something, regardless of the language that they speak. So that's what it makes video universal, and it makes us to be able to deliver in this way. What is challenging is different platforms require different type of video. We have seen, and I'm going to mention one of the players. We kind of, our strategy is to be with everybody. We work very closely with Facebook, with Instagram, Vine, you know, but the most amazing thing lately has been trying to figure out how to work with Snapchat, which is a complete new, different format, different code of communication. When I see my 13-year-old communicating with her friends, it's really unbelievable. It's like we're going back to the Egyptians' times, you know, they said hieroglyphically. You know, they send this video clip with some letters and one emoji. It's like, what that means, you know? And they are, you know, Gen Zs, you know, all because we are all the time talking about millennials. By the time that we will figure it out, they will not be millennials anymore. Let's focus on the Gen Z. And Gen Zs, that's the applications, those are the applications they're using. They're using WhatsApp, they're using Messenger, and they're using Snapchat. So, and it's video. They are sharing a lot of video. So video for us, obviously, being a content producer and a multi-platform storyteller is at the core of our strategy, but is more importantly is what has become that a universal way for people to communicate, is language.
Yes. David, anything to add?
Well, in our case, we see video, of course, exploding like in every other place in the world. We're currently pretty much deploying networks as quick as we can, deploying 4G throughout our markets, billions of dollars in investment, and it's fascinating. I mean, as soon as we turn on a tower, a new 4G network, it just gets filled up within days, sometimes hours. So the demand is there. It's just fascinating how it's growing. It's fascinating how consumers are demanding more and more capacity on their devices, faster speeds. So as a telco, in building the infrastructure, you know, we see this phenomenon happening. It tends to happen very quickly on the better known services. But as I said earlier, we also seen local content providers, local solutions, local applications really starting to grow quite rapidly. So I do expect to see over the next couple of years an explosion of local content in video as well, and a lot of it is being fueled by social platforms like Facebook, for instance.
Yeah, I think it's a virtuous circle. And the way Brightstar plays into this is, David was mentioning before the smartphone penetration, right? So there are still in some of the countries in Latin America, high 40%, 50% feature phone penetration. So there's still half the people who don't have a smartphone, for which the video solutions are nonsensical at this point. Having said that, the fact that content exists and content that is attractive and the telcos are providing the highway for that content to be provided, now all of a sudden it makes sense for me to get a smartphone. And it might not be able to, I won't be able to buy the high-tier smartphone, the $700 smartphone, but maybe I can buy a refurbished smartphone, or maybe I can buy a low-tier smartphone, or maybe I can buy a finance smartphone. And those are the areas where Brightstar is playing an enabler function to bring those tools to the market so people can actually access the content.
So we believe that, for example, and we are seeing it already, with all these new features of video, we are seeing how people, it's like, I don't know if any of you is using this feature right now and you're like live broadcasting this, or for example, I can envision a teacher in a class somewhere, like live broadcasting his class to someone that maybe couldn't go to school that day, or there are lots of different ways where we can use live video for, I don't know, report how the traffic it's being right now and things like that. So I'm a firm believer of video because it's a universal language, and because I think that there's so many different things that we miss from that picture that your friend is sharing or from that text that someone is sending you, and live video makes you feel part of it. So another thing that you guys have mentioned was financial. You've talked about mobile money, and I think this is one of the most interesting topics and things that are currently exploding all over the world. So if you can tell us a little bit more, David?
Sure thing. So as I said earlier, in a lot of the markets where we operate, the population is pretty much underbanked. So 4 or 5 years ago, we started developing some solutions around providing ways to enable payments to this part of the population. So we pretty much started in Tanzania, in Africa, and the way we did it was pretty much via SMS or USSD for those that are familiar with it. But as I said earlier, I mean, users simply go to a top-up station. They add $10, $5 to their account, and then from there they can either transfer money to a relative family that's living in some other part of the country. Now you can do it even across countries, or simply make micropayments, pay for the bus or pay for the tomatoes they're buying or whatever it may be, right? And this we started, as I said, in Tanzania, then we took to other African markets, and now we have in most of our Latin American markets. And I'm not going to give you the specific country, but in some markets we're moving 5% of the internal product of that market in terms of remittances and monies that are going from one wallet to the other. So adoption is huge. We're starting to take that into digital. So now we're starting to accept payments online or through mobile applications using your mobile wallet. We're also doing a lot with money or currency that's being transferred from the United States or Spain into a lot of the markets where we're operating. And as that evolves, we're starting to do microloans, insurance services, and so on to the same base, either loans that go direct to your wallet or even microloans that allow you to navigate from your device or buy application from your device or whatever it may be. So huge adoption, and again, as I was saying earlier, there are opportunities that out there, and really encourage companies or people like yourself, innovators, to go in there and really help us move those communities forward.
So to add to what David is saying, one of the, I would say, one of the industries or one of the sectors that I think are currently like being exploding in terms of quality and content on the internet is fintech. So I know a lot of different startups, to name one, Recarga Pay, for example, an Argentinian guy that's now in Miami, that he's really trying to help and solve this problem as well. So there's a lot of different things also when we are thinking about these local communities that I was saying that didn't have local internet, where you see developers trying to build the basics of that the population needs to understand in terms of finance too, and how they're trying to slowly educate the people on those basics, because most of these people in these undeveloped markets don't have that education still. So there's so much to do there. We've talked about video, we've talked about that, we've talked about how the ecosystem works. And now before we finish, because we're going to have 5 minutes, the last thing that I wanted to talk with the three of them is how human technology is, right? So at the end, companies are made by people, all these services, all this content, everything we do is really because we believe that technology should make our life easy. And one thing that I thought would be very interesting is, what are the different values that you as a professional in tech, or that your companies as the drivers of this technology acceleration are doing, or what memes or mottos or different things that you guys internally, in terms of internal education in the company, are using, and can you share? So in my case, I wanted to name just a few. I don't know if you've seen every time, if you posters that we have at Facebook. This one is my favorite, which is, what would you do if you weren't afraid? Okay, so for all of you that have companies that are moving into the digital world right now, and you don't know what to do, or if you're a developer, or if you are in school and you're trying to somehow understand how the technology is evolving, think about every day, what would you do if you weren't afraid, and really, really crack and build interesting things. The next one would be, of course, people over pixels, right? We're talking about technology, we're talking about a lot of different things so that we can really help and contribute to develop the ecosystem, the cities, and give opportunities to the people, but everything is people over pixels. If we talk about technology, don't think that we are crazy guys just thinking about zeros and ones. We definitely think about people first. And the last one would be move fast and build things. Like, I think that we've failed very many times at Facebook, and I'm pretty sure that your companies and each of us have failed along our careers. Nothing is perfect, just try it, give it a try, and all together we will contribute to make things happen. So this is from the Facebook side. Borja, what would you advise, or which are the things that...
For us, and it's something that I repeat a lot to my group, is the best currency is to stay current. And for us, it's extremely important to continue to keep an eye on, what is the next platform and what's the behavior attached to that platform, and try to be respectful of that relationship and try to adapt to that. Again, we are a beautiful company with great assets. We are probably the largest entertainment company in the world. You think about the movies, the soccer rights, and everything that we have in terms of news too. Imagine how beautiful it is to start transforming, what we have done traditionally in other platforms, to start doing it in the new ones. And the only way that we are going to be able to do a good job is by understanding that relationship between the consumer and the new platforms. And the latest has been this platform. Don't worry, what is going to happen right now is going to be faster and faster and faster. And I just talked with someone. He said, "Can I look at your phone to see how many apps you have?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh my God, you have a lot." I have to have a lot, and I have to continue. And we have social profiles right now across 8 different platforms for every single title at Telemundo. Imagine 4 primetime super series. We have the 4 different shows, and every one of them multiplied by 8. Each one have the profile. Why? Because I need to be there. I need to know what's how that user is behaving there. And let's not forget one thing: when you are a Gen Z, and you enter in a platform, there is no brand equity in that platform about your company. You had to build it. You had to gain that audience from scratch, from that moment. Obviously respecting what we do. We are storytellers, and that's what we are here for. But the storytelling has changed, and it has adapted to the platform.
Thank you, Borja.
I would say in our case, we are obsessed with helping people to advance in life. We see the connectivity that we provide, the devices that we put in the hands of our customers, the internet connectivity that we provide in schools, businesses, homes around the markets where we operate, as really a key to information, a key to new businesses, a key to efficiencies to the markets where we operate. And also, we see so many families taking advantage of this connectivity and these services. So I would say that in our case, we probably saw how mobile came to a lot of these markets where there was really no landline telephony or very minimal payphone. And suddenly we are, after 6-7 years, we are like at 120% mobile penetration throughout our markets. 3 years ago, we were talking about 15-20% smartphone penetration in our markets. We're already at 60%. Over the next couple of years, we're going to be at 80% or more. So it's incredible how this technology is really being adopted in these markets, and the use that these communities give to this connectivity. So again, we are really proud to bring the digital lifestyle to our markets, supporting them in accessing all the content and accessing all the media and all the social platforms that they can reach.
Yeah, I think there are three aspects that I would think in terms of values and in terms of culture. The first one is customer first. Think with the customer in mind. Whatever we do, think with the customer in mind. The second one is flawless execution. If you think with the customer in mind, but then you don't execute properly, then it's worthless. And the third one is continuous innovation. So don't stop thinking, okay, what do we need to do to serve the market today, but what do we need to do to serve the market tomorrow? A good metaphor for that is the history of the phone, right? So we started with phones that were sitting in our houses, and we picked up the phone and we said, who is this? And the question was basically, who are you? I don't know who are you, right? And the next we had caller ID, so we knew who it was. So, oh, Uncle George, how are you? So we went from who are you to how are you? But then mobility came about, and it became, where are you? Can you talk now, right? And now with Facebook and the chatbots, we might be able to ask, what are you, right? And who knows if in the future we'll ask, when are you?
So I think that mobile has become, I don't know what would I do without my phone one day. I feel so lost. It's not only because I can't reach the people I love, but it's because I can't even go home because I can't call Uber or Lyft or, There's so many things that happen. Actually, in many places, it's your account, is your bank account, so that you can pay for an apple or for whatever you need even for an apple, like small things and stuff. So don't be afraid of the change. I have been working with a lot of companies that are struggling, thinking about from web to mobile, and from mobile to the next platform, which is going to be VR and AR. So I really think that it's worth the change, is worth the way. You have met today incredible people that has been making these changes. We have ourselves too, because we were originally a web company. And think about how incredible it is to have your businesses or any of your products in the pockets of so many people around the world. So thank you guys for joining me today. Thank you everyone for staying here. We will be around the conference. So if you have any questions, we will be happy to help you. Thank you.